Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of BC Buckets. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. Colin, this is our last video before we get into the mock draft and big boards.
Big boards first.
Big board, then mock draft. Okay, so this is the last one before those. I think it really marks the end almost of our regular videos of getting to know all the players here. So, with that being said, we're going to do sleepers, second round sleepers to be specific. These are all guys I think we have outside the top 30.
Well, I mean, I don't know about one of yours, but we'll let it.
We'll see.
I'll let it go.
We'll see. We'll let it go. But yeah, we'll go back and forth. I think Colin said he wants to do worst to best.
Yeah.
So we'll do worst to best. We'll go back and forth. So Colin, you can go first. Who is your sleeper? So the guy that you're high on, but like the lowest of those.
The lowest that I'm high on.
Yeah.
Quick audible here. Moved him down just now. Ulrich Chomsky.
Okay.
This guy is a 18-year. He's gonna be not even 18 and a half come draft time. Plays at the NBA Academy in Africa. He is a power forward / center. Out of Africa, only has stats for 3 games that I put on there. So it's a very low sample size, but he's going to be basically, a lot of people are comparing him in terms of the trajectory of Giannis. Super athletic player, Bilal Coulibaly, except way less refined even than him.
Yeah.
Super athletic athlete, great hands, really good work ethic. You see shooting, you see playmaking. Defense is the thing that you're kind of getting sold on right now over those other 2 things. But if you give him 2 years, kind of like a Jajon Saloon, he could be like a Nick Claxton, or he could even be even better than that. I actually have ceiling as all-star just for the fun of it. Obviously, Floor is out of the league. He has a lot of growing to do. But he's a guy that right now what he's going to give you is just he's a very strong athletic player, and he shows flashing of shooting that I buy. 38% on 7 attempts from 3. Likes to pass out of the post, actually, so he's not a ball stopper in the post. And I think power forward almost fits him more than center. And if he's able to do that at 6'11" and 7'4" wingspan, then you're looking at a pretty good player.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that, because it's supposed to be like, elevator pitch stuff, but the only thing I'll add is he athletically, like, not just he's tall and can jump. Like,
no, he's super athlete.
Like, quick.
Yeah.
Like, fast, quick, like, everywhere quick. So, like, yeah, if he figures out the game and, like, it slows down for him, he can be everywhere.
Yeah, the downside to him is that he's playing against essentially high schoolers right now. And
well, okay, so I didn't get full clarity on this. I don't want to disparage.
Well, no, I mean, in terms of the competition is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't despair. I don't know. I feel like we don't know enough.
Fair enough.
For the NBA Academy.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But, all right, my first player, which I don't know who I'm going to do first. The lowest of these guys that I am on is Cam Spencer to me, which I actually really like Cam Spencer, which is I texted you when we were going to do this. I said, hey, call the player that you want. I called Cam Spencer before anybody else.
Yeah, before you even looked at him.
I was like, I want Cam Spencer. Out of UConn, this is a guy who anybody who watched, good amount of college basketball, you saw this guy, and he was just like, he wasn't the heartbeat of UConn. He wasn't like a game breaker per se, but every time you watch UConn, you're like, oh my gosh, Cam Spencer is like, he breaks the game open for them. He's like the cheat code for them, because you shouldn't have Stephon Castle and Donovan Clingan, and then you have, even Tristan Newton and Caravan, and then you have Cam Spencer come in and just knock you out.
Yeah.
With like threes or a rebound or steal. Obviously 40 games, started all of them, 33 minutes per game, 14 points, 5 boards, 3.5 assists, 1 steal, 1.5 steals, 48.5% from the field, 44% from 3, 91% from the free throw line. Incredibly smart, poised, like plays off 2 feet, pump fakes everywhere. Like, he was excellent at manipulating the defense and the defender and then just making the simple play. And I absolutely love that. I think every coach in America loves that.
Wow. You got passionate right there.
Obviously an elite shooter, like movement, catch, even some like off the dribble stuff, like relocating. Incredible. And then showed some defensive like ability. Like he's not 6 feet. He's 6'3". I think he has like a 6'5" wingspan, and he's sturdy. Obviously, he's 24 years old, but like so he's got a little bit like of a dad bod on him, but he's he's strong. So yeah, I like Cam Spencer a lot. Obviously, it's hard to put him like I don't have him top 40 because like ultimately he is 24. Like he is not a great athlete. Not a great athlete in like the vertical sense, right? Like in the
Yeah.
vertical and quickness sense. And also my main concern was his percentages did dip when they played the best competition. So Ken Palm does tier A and tier B opponents. In the last 2 years, both at Rutgers and UConn, those percentages, shooting percentages dropped down to, I believe, like in the high 30s. So fairly substantial.
Then you're high on this guy?
Yeah, he's 41 on my board right now.
What's the ceiling? You got to be high on him for something.
So like a lot of people I think could say like Peyton Pritchard. Now I do think Peyton Pritchard in college was like
Peyton Pritchard was like the dynamic god
in college.
yeah,
A
in
bucket
college.
So it's a little different there. But I have Patty Mills and I have Yogi Ferrell as my comps.
Yogi Ferrell.
Yogi Ferrell. Those are my comps. If he has the career of those two, or like Patty Mills, obviously has been in the league for like 15 years, but
a billion years.
Yeah, like Patty Mills, Yogi Ferrell, something like that. Those are my comps for Cam Spencer. Sorry, that was a long.
That's all right.
Elevator speech.
This is a longer video.
Yeah.
My third worst best sleeper is Isaiah Crawford out of Louisiana Tech. Not on a lot of people's boards at all in the first 2 rounds. You and I, covering North Texas, obviously have seen a lot of Isaiah Crawford since he was a freshman, and watched him hit a game winner over North Texas a couple times, or once, I guess. But although Conference USA is a really bad conference now, it wasn't. And right now he averaged 16 points a game, 40% from the field, 41% from 3, 6.2 rebounds, 2.5 assists.
I have 48% from the field, for what it's worth.
I said that.
Okay, I thought you said 40. You might have just said it fast.
Oh, but continue. I might have said it fast. 2.5 assists, 1.7 blocks, 2.1 steals. I mean, he's a do-it-all player for La Tech. Obviously, that's mostly because he's the best player in the conference by far, and he won Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to be a guy at the NBA level that I think is just instantly can come in and be a 3-and-D type player. He's not going to be the best defender. He's not the greatest athlete. Has 2 ACL tears.
Yeah.
But if you tell me that a player that can do all this at any level in college basketball in the Division I level and not contribute in a meaningful way with the type of frame that he has, I mean, I think he's a really good player. 59% at the rim, 41% from 3. I already said that part. Doesn't have an elite handle, but I think he's able to put on the floor and attack closeouts pretty easily, and he's not afraid of going to the rack, which is really nice to see. And now that feel for the game, 15% assist rate. Turnovers, we can talk about those, 2.5 turnovers, but 15% assist rate, and he plays with himself. He doesn't try to do anything crazy. Even being La Tech's number 1 guy, there was nothing where you're like, oh, that's a little reckless, or oh, you're trying to do too much. And that's kind of La Tech's thing, right? It's like North Texas has always been, where you're going to play really hard. It's a team game, and I think that's just going to translate really well at the NBA.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it. I think I like the idea that a lot of these players that we're going to talk about are going to have to maybe downsize their game. I think Isaiah Crawford can step in and immediately do what he did at La Tech, and the NBA level, 3-and-D, like you said, attack some mismatches, maybe in the mid post area.
Yeah, and he's strong, 6'6", 220.
Yeah, strong, good build. Interested to see the athleticism translate, but ultimately, I like it. I'm buying.
Yeah, I actually have him fairly high on my board. He is low 30s for me.
Okay.
So,
all right,
we'll see how that goes.
Next for me, Adem Bona. This is I went into this tape fairly skeptical, having watched some UCLA the past 2 years, really. He's sophomore out of UCLA, 6'9", 21 years old. But like when you watch the tape and you really like contextualize what he does, it's hard not to get like excited about a player that plays this hard with a 7'3" wingspan, with a 40-inch vertical, that's 6'9", 12.5 points per game, 6 boards, 2.5 turnovers to 1 assist, but 1.2 steals or 1.1 steals, 1.8 blocks, 58% from the field, 70% from the free throw line. The rim running is the first thing. Like, awesome athlete, great lob threat. I'm 100% sold on that. But he also gets the free throw line a lot. They posted him up a lot at UCLA, which I don't think will be his role, but he gets to the line a lot. The free throw form isn't like I saw some people like be like, oh well, I don't know if his free throw form like will translate, but it's like he shot 70%, and the year before it was like in the 50s. So I understand the concern, but he shot enough of them. I'm cool with it. 8.5 block percentage, and also had really good hands for steals. Like, he's 6'9", and he's a great athlete. So he's not. I do think he like even has some like hedging potential, like play at the level of the ball screen type stuff there. So I like Bona's defense. What else I have here? Yeah, he's really strong too, and he seals well. So I like that as well. So those are all the positives. The question marks: handling, passing, had a 1-2 assist to turnover ratio. The post game, I'm not buying much at all, like 45% on hook shots. And then the rebounding is the biggest thing. Only 6 rebounds, and he was not a dominant rebounder at UCLA. Like, he was good, but I need you to be like dominant. My player comp is Paul Reed, backup for the 76ers. So that gives you some context. Paul Reed was a better rebounder in college, though, I will say.
Yeah.
So that is a little different. He averaged like almost
But
11.
also, I think we had a second round grade on him as well.
I think I was 29.
Oh, I had a second round grade on him.
Yeah, I went back and looked at my Paul Reed scout.
So
who you got? What's next?
Second to worst, or I guess second worst, third, whatever.
Just who you got?
KJ Simpson. Out of Colorado, obviously playing with Cody Williams Tristan Da Silva.
Cody Williams.
Cody Williams and Tristan Da Silva at Colorado. Yeah. Sorry, Cody Williams, you weren't that much of a focal point. Apologies. I love KJ Simpson. Problem being, despite being a uberly polished guard who's able to score in any way that he wants, even able to do some off-ball stuff and create offense, he is only 6 feet tall.
He's short.
Yeah. So that's necessarily a problem. And he's not the defender that like a Jamal Shed is, obviously. Yeah. And that's going to limit his opportunities on the floor in the NBA. Now, the reason why I love him so much is because he is so polished. He can score in any way that he wants. He got the float game, a 3-level score, contested threes, off ball, moves around. And just give you guys some statistics: 20 points per game.
Yeah.
43% from 3, 47% from the field, 6 rebounds for a 6-foot guard is really good as well. 5 assists. 1.5 steals, and only 2 turnovers a game at a 27% usage percentage. It's incredible. And not only that, he was really clutch. So the guy that I have him comp to is Fred VanVleet. I don't know if he'll be the defender that he is, but I think that his toughness will keep him on the court on that. And obviously he's going to get targeted on defense. There's nothing you can really do about that there. But I think offensively he can do a lot for a team. And I have his ceiling as a starting guard, floor as a rotation guard.
You don't think his floor is out the league?
No, I think he's too good offensively.
Okay. I respect that. My next one is Dylan Jones from Weber State. Going into this, I try to read and listen to a lot of stuff, and before I even do my deep dives, and going in, it felt like a lot of contrasting opinions or conflicting opinions on him. It's like some people have him outside the top 60, some people have him in the 30s, some people think he's a first round grade. So I didn't know what to expect. And then you look at the numbers, the raw numbers, and he's like, okay, he only shot 32% from 3, and he's like not a great shooter. And he did this at Weber State, and they didn't play like a super tough schedule. He played 37 minutes per game, 21 points, 10 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, like 3 turnovers. So like the raw numbers are awesome. And he shot 86% from the free throw line, I should say. And then you watch him and he's like super strong. This like guy that just like gets to the rim really well, 6'11" wingspan. And I think half of his shots were at the rim or in the paint. So like, and then he got to the free throw line a ton. But the game that really sold me was against St. Mary's, the hardest opponent they played all year. They played him early in the year on the road, and he had 29 points and led this team to a comeback win over St. Mary's. And we know how tough it is to beat St. Mary's, especially on the road. And he just willed them to a win, like mid-range pull-up jumpers, hit some threes, got to the free throw line, and I left that game and I left watching his tape buying the shooting way more than I think most people do. So I'm buying the shooting. I'm buying the rebounding because he's a top 5. He's been a top 5 defensive rebounding percentage in the country the past 3 years. Like he goes and gets the ball. It's incredible. I think he's a really good passer. He's like Jalen Tyson light. That's how you can describe this guy. Like truly. And I'm super. We're both super high on Jalen Tyson.
Yeah.
He is Jalen Tyson light. That's who he is.
Do you have him where most people have Jalen Tyson at?
Yeah, I have him where most people have Jalen Tyson like 30s. I'm gonna have Dylan Jones. Where do I have Dylan Jones right now? 32. Like, I understand the question marks. Like they make 100% like sense to me. He's older. He only faced 3 top 130 teams all of last year. His handle I think is like decent, but it's not great. He got stripped sometimes. And what does it look like when he doesn't get the usage percentage, that he had the past couple years at Weber State? Can he play a more condensed role, even if the shot is like average? Like, I don't know, but I've seen a lot of basketball players, and this guy has enough counters and has enough like in him for me to buy him being like a rotation player in the NBA. So I'm willing to bet on that.
Rotation player.
I have my comp is Keldon Johnson. Keldon was a little bit more vertical of an athlete, but I mean Keldon couldn't really shoot coming out of college.
That's
Like
true.
it was very similar. Keldon went 30th in the draft, I'm pretty sure. So it's like I see those comparisons fairly easily, and obviously Keldon was younger, but yeah, I don't know, like ceiling floor wise, I don't know if he can get to a starter level. I don't want to like over hype him because I still have a second round grade on him, but yeah, I think he can be a rotation player on a good team. I think that's valuable.
All right, my last player is
Kind of
my
like Keldon.
favorite.
Like I don't think Keldon should be like he started games at the Spurs with the Spurs, but I don't think he's like a bona fide starter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I get what you mean. Yeah. My last player, player I'm most excited about is Nikola Juricic, if that's how you say his last name. Nikola Topic's ex-teammate. This is a guy who I could see being out of the league or being sixth man of the year type player. I don't think there's any in between, and I'll explain that in a second. First of all, just run through some stats: 15 points a game, 44% from the field, 30% from 3, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, half a block, 1.2 steals, and 3.2 turnovers. That doesn't sound that great. Doesn't sound that great at all. And that would be because Nikola Topic was his teammate. So as we know, Nikola Topic is a point guard. He has to have the ball in his hands. Nikola Juricic is not a point guard, but he is a forward/shooting guard wing player that needs the ball in his hands. And when he has the ball in his hands, this dude is electric. Like, I mean, when I was watching him, I was like, this is what I wanted Topic to be. I mean, obviously Topic is going to go higher, and I think that he should go higher. But in terms of the flashiness and skill that you see from him and well-roundedness that you see in his offensive game, it makes me really, really excited, especially with his feel. Like when he has the ball in his hands, he's trying to get a shot. Like all the fakes, the dribble moves, change of pace, like that was super impressive. And not only that, he's not afraid of contact at the rim. He didn't really finish that well. But like that was what's really impressive. And because of that, I think that he'll be a really good player. Now, there's stats with and without Topic. So the stats I read you is overall without Topic, he averaged 18.3 points per game, had a true shooting percentage of 60%, 3-point percentage of 34, 3 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 3.7 turnovers, and 1.4 steals. Obviously, he's got to clean up those turnovers. But I think that if he's able to find a place in the NBA that will let him play the way he wants to play, and this is why I don't think there's an in between. I don't think he can be a guy that can sit in the corner and do nothing.
Yeah.
I think he has to be a guy that sits in the G League for a year or two, is able to be the guy on that team or be the guy in garbage time and learn from his mistakes, because he has to have the ball in his hands, and I don't see him doing it any other way. A couple of the weaknesses real quick outside of turnovers, shooting concerns. Obviously, if you shoot 30% with or without Topic, it's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Shot looks good, but it needs to go in. And finally, defense. He has the length, 6'8", 6'8" in terms of height and wingspan at 210 pounds. He just needs to put it together. I like him as a team defender, but he kind of shows, I should say, I like him sometimes as a team defender because he loses focus a lot of the times, and he doesn't like to fight through, I guess, when he's on ball, he likes to fight through screens, but if it's anything off ball, it's like there's almost no focus. And I'm kind of hoping that this is a situation where it's like a Jaden McDaniels type of thing where he has the tools, becomes somewhat of a defender. But I love this guy. I think my comp form is Anthony Edwards without the ability to dunk 20 inches over someone's head. So just in terms of the way he plays, because I love all the step backs in the mid range game and in the fakes. So.
Yeah, the shooting is the big thing. That's the swing skill here. If he's got to shoot the ball, because I do think he has enough. He has enough else to his game that can get him on the court. We'll see the defense, the shooting, the turnovers. But the turnovers, I think it's a project of him playing like point guard almost, when he's more of like a secondary or tertiary creator for the most part. But I think he's a secondary, tertiary creator. Like ideally, if you can play him alongside if you play him like with Wembanyama, right, or something like that. Like you play him and he can play off of him in that way, and it kind of opens up the floor for him. So, the first thing that stood out to me when I watched him, obviously mega same team as Topic, was like when he went up and dunked it. I was like, oh, that's not Nikola Topic. That's not Nikola. That's the wrong Nikola. We have an imposter here. Okay, last one for me is going to be Terrence Shannon. And this is a guy who I think a lot of people, well, I know a lot of people were waiting on his legal matter to be resolved. And he was acquitted. And it was that came out last week. And now I think people are starting to evaluate him, fairly as a prospect, because obviously if that doesn't go that direction, then he's not even drafted and we don't talk about him. But now with this being the case, I think you have to evaluate Terrence Shannon for what he is, and I think that is just one of the more exciting offensive players in this draft. Now he's almost 24 years old. He's 6'6", senior out of Illinois. He's played 5 years of college basketball, 3 at Tech, 2 at Illinois. 34 minutes per game last year, 23 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 47% from the field, 36% from 3 on almost 7 attempts per game, and 80% at the free throw line on 8.5 attempts per game. Had full autonomy of the Illinois offense, and they played really fast because of him. He can get downhill and just at an awesome rate. High volume scorer, high usage. I think he was over 20% usage every season of his career, basically. And he did cut down his turnovers pretty significantly this past year. So, it's hard. Like what I always say with the players that are especially players that are over 23, you have to be what you're going to be in the NBA. And I do think there is a role for him in the NBA in terms of his ability to get downhill, like his scoring ability off the dribble. Like he has improved rapidly enough for me to say he can draw fouls in the NBA. Like he is a good enough athlete to compete day in, day out with NBA players. I think the question for me is somewhat defensively. And then also like just overall decision making, even though, like I said, he cut down the turnovers, some of the shot selection stuff will need to be cleaned up. Like he's not going to have that type of freedom. So, yeah, that's basically Terrence Shannon in a nutshell. He's 30th, I think, on my board right now,
Really?
and I feel pretty good
A lot of
about
people
that.
are. Some people are higher on him, like 20 or something.
Yeah, I wrestle with. I have him in the tier of like Combe Daddier, Keyshawn George, who I'm higher on than you, but like I could see him as high as like 26, 27 on my board.
Mm.
But he's definitely above. To me, he's definitely above Dylan Jones and Johnny Furphy and Kevin McCullough. You know those guys. So he's like almost in a tier of his own, but like he's like more leaning up than he is down.
Tier Terrence Shannon.
Tier Terrence tier. There you go. So yeah, there's our elevated pitches. Who on my side do you like the most? Like just off my pitch.
Who on your side? Probably Bona, honestly. I feel like he offers the most. Now, when you were like, he's like 43rd on my board, I was like, oh, that sucks.
Bona?
What was he?
No. 34.
Oh, I was thinking of maybe it was the person before that.
Yeah,
It was
Spencer.
definitely the
Cam
person
Spencer
before
was
that.
41.
I think he excites me the most in terms of what he's able to offer right away. The most interesting though was probably Weaver
Dylan
State.
Jones.
Dylan Jones. Yeah. I don't know if that'll pan out, but it'd be cool if it did, considering you have him, you said 30th?
I have him 31st. No,
31st.
32.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Adam Bono would be the one. What about me?
Jurisic.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm gonna go watch all four of your guys like in more depth because we did this to like do like an elevator pitch almost to the other guy.
Yeah.
And I want to go watch more.
Let me tell you, it's like you watch him and you're like, okay, he could be like a star, but then also not. So in my head, also, he doesn't really play like this, but I was like, this dude could be Joe Ingles, like when he was like at the height of his powers.
I'm trying to think. I'll come up with a comp. I'll come up with a comp for him. But yeah, it's Jurisic is the one. I do buy Isaiah Crawford just watching.
Yeah.
Having watched Crawford, but then also like watching him this past year, like the shooting looks real and the defense is real. Like if he's just healthy and athletic enough, I think he can definitely warrant a draft pick.
Yeah, I feel like he is the highest floor of everybody, but he also has the lowest ceiling.
I need to watch more KJ Simpson, but I'm not there.
Really?
I'm not there.
See, I feel like if you can play
I can't
offense,
be in on every sub 6'2" point guard in this draft. Like
Kolek. Well, to be fair though,
Kolek is what, 6'2"?
Who?
Kolek, how tall is Tyler Kolek? 6'2", I think.
6'2", 6'3", maybe
6'2", 6'3". Like
that's
between him,
I feel like short guards in the past though. Like how tall is Kira Lewis?
For instance, I don't know how tall Kira Lewis. That's a good question. 6'2"? No, he might be a little bigger actually.
I feel like he's probably like
Cassius Winston.
6'1". He's 6'1".
Damn, Cassius Winston, for instance, similar like all-American player out of college at Michigan State, and didn't even like I had him probably 35th on my board or something. No shot.
That's true.
And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, but
then like you go to like Carson Edwards, Purdue, like firecracker, like player. Like I don't know. There's a lot of. It's hard. It's hard to make the NBA if you're under 6'1".
I just feel like, speaking of Kira Lewis, like he was like hot, like 18th on people's board, 6'1", and all he could do was be fast and pass the ball. I mean, really.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So, like, for me, if you have a guy that's this polished, especially with them all being fifth-year seniors now, like, you're able to finally see them at what they will be and forever will be.
I will say also, I texted you this, but, like, the second round, I believe, maybe even more so than ever, like, we've only done BCB like this is year 4, but, like, this has to be one of the oldest second rounds ever.
Oh, yeah.
Between COVID years and NIL keeping players in and whatnot, like, this is just incredibly old between like Shannon, Jones, bonus second year, Shed, Harrison Ingram, Baylor Shireman, Kevin McCullough, Cam Spencer. Like these are all 4th-year guys, 5th-year guys.
Yeah.
Trey Alexander, like, so yeah, it's a Oso Ighodaro. Like, it's a really old second round, which makes it hard-ish because you're not like you're no longer really swinging for the fences. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
drafting for players you know what they are, which I don't know, it's a little different. Feels different for me. All right, that's all we got for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for our big board and our mock draft, and then it's draft time. Wednesday, June 26th, we will have post draft analysis for every single pick in the first round. Every team covered there. We upload. It's like any team that has a first round pick, we upload a video for. So it's usually like what 25 teams, 23 teams,
I
something
think
like
it's
that.
a lot. I feel like it's a lot less this year for some reason.
Yeah. See, a lot of times there's like multiple teams that are like 2 or 3 picks, so it chops it down. But regardless, we'll have picks on all of them. Thank y'all for joining us, and we will talk to y'all later.